this video we're going to do some initial configurations on a Juniper device. What do I mean by initial configuration? Well, the idea is that we're going to take a device out of our topology that you can see now on the screen, and we're going to configure it so we have at least management access. I mean management access things, so we are going to configure things like the host name, things like system time, make sure that the system has the correct time, it's remote access, so SSH or Telnet or both. Configure a management interface so the device is reachable. And if needed, we could also configure a static route, but here it's not needed because I actually have access to the management network. But if your management network is going through routers, then you might also need to do that as well. It might be static route, or it might be some routing protocols you get reachability to your particular device. So let's see this on one of the routers. For this one, we're going to configure R2 that I think doesn't have any config. And just to make sure, we're going to use the load factory default command to make sure that it's completely clean. Okay, so I just put in the load factory default, which is going to wipe any configuration that this device has. And also, if we do commit, we're going to see this error, which is telling us that we need to put a root password into the device. This is a Juniper protection to make sure that we don't have devices without any password. And also, we have to comply with a password policy that's in the device. So before we can actually do anything, we have to set a root password. So let's do that. I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dot. That's going to comply with the password policy. And we can actually go ahead and get going with the initial configuration. So the first thing I would do is to put in a hostname. So that way when we connect to the device, we know what it is. The hostname obviously should be meaningful in your organization. So perhaps you follow the model of putting the city where the device is, or you have your own little standard for doing this so it's meaningful to your network engineers. For this particular topology, we're just going to use R2, since this is device R2, this device right here. So let's do that. Set system hostname R2. So now we should enable some remote access protocol. So let's enable Telnet and SSH. So we'll do set system services Telnet and set system services SSH. So now we should enable the management interface, or our particular management interface, which in this case it's EM5. We can see here the subnet information. So it's 192.168.254/.0/24, and the IP address for this device is 243. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do set interfaces EM5.0, family init, address, and we'll put in the IP address, which was 243. So now we can actually go ahead and do a show compare, and we'll see the changes in the configuration. We can see that we have added the hostname of R2. We can see that we're going to replace the previous root password the system had with the one we put in before we started. We can see that now we're going to enable SSH and Telnet. And finally, we can see we have gone ahead and put an IP address into EM5.0. That info is here. So after we commit, we should be able to ping, and we should be able to Telnet, and we should be able to SSH this particular device. So let's go ahead and try that. So commit, the system is going to check that everything we are doing is okay, that we are not missing any statements, that we don't have any problems with our logic. The example I always like to use is think of a static route with a wrong subnet mask. So the commit is successful, so now we could ping. So let's go ahead. This is the shell on my management laptop. So this will ping 192.254, and the IP was 243. So we can ping it. So let's SSH. We'll get a message saying it's the first time we connect. We're getting a message with RSA key fingerprint saying if we want to accept it or not. Let's type it out. Let's type password, and we are in the device. So we're in the device. Remember, since we log the root user, we're going to go directly to the Unix shell. To get into the Junos CLI, we will do CLI. So basically, with this little configuration, now we can work on the device remotely. So mind you deploy this on the data center, so you did the configuration on console. Now you can go ahead and keep working with the device from your desktop or from a more comfortable location, or even from a remote, far remote, from another country or from another city, no problem. So did we ping it? Yes, we ping it. And Telnet should be available as well. Yeah, so Telnet's available there. So one thing I haven't checked out is the system time. So let's check out that what's the system time and if it's correct. So we do show system uptime. We can actually see, besides the information when the system started, we can actually see what the clock on this device is. And we can see it here. It's telling us that it's the 2nd of April of 2011, and it's giving us the hour. Let's say we want to change that. We have two options. From the operational mode, we do set date, and we can do it either by NTP, or which NTP is Network Time Protocol. So basically, it's a way of keeping all our devices in sync, which is very useful. If, for example, we are trying to understand a problem, or so we're checking logs from different devices. It's good to know that all devices are using the same timestamp. So it's highly recommended. Or we could do it by hand, basically specifying by hand the date information. So we have an MTP device, NTP server. The IP is 250. So let's use that. So 192. We can see that it's telling us that it was able to sync, and then it adjusted the time by 57 seconds. So let's check out what's the system time now. So as we can see, went ahead the 57 seconds. So now our device, let's sum up. So now our device has a root password, it has a correct host name. We make sure that the system time was up to date. We have remote access, we have SSH and Telnet enabled. We have a management interface on site. We could also, if needed, it depends on your environment, but as you can see from my topology, it wasn't needed because I'm using this device right here. But if needed, you would have to enable some routing protocol to allow you to reach that device, but in this case, not needed, so we didn't do it. But with this little configuration, now we're able to work remotely in this device, and we're able to continue the configuration. Thank you.